What do you think of the strength of Mike's position here as the defendant in a wrongful termination case?
A great question. I think Mike's case is very strong.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that he should not have pivoted. He should not have been seeking a settlement. You can fire someone for acting. First of all, you can fire someone for no reason, but you can fire someone for taking an action that was putting the firm in a bad light publicly, right? Like,
absolutely. I mean, if you're an at-will employee, the firm decides that, you know, you're not reflecting positively on the firm, they can decide to end that relationship.
And on top of that, the burden's on the plaintiff to determine if there was an unlawful reason for the termination. So I just think in a lot of ways, they have a lot of ground to make up and a lot of work to do. And like, I don't even know what their framework is. What are they going to be claiming? What kind of rule were they going to claim that they violated?
Yeah, really hard to tell based on the facts. Assuming that the plaintiff were an at-will employee and she were terminated because, you know, her behavior reflected poorly on the firm and nothing more, that's an incredibly strong case for the defendant.
Now, to think about it from the plaintiff's point of view, is there potentially some kind of discrimination happening here? We don't know what the facts are, but maybe there is something undercurrent. I wish they would have fleshed that out a little bit. If that's what they were going to claim. I think the next one is retaliation. There may be an argument that her statements that went viral were discussing some kind of unsafe environment, some kind of hostile work environment, some kind of sexual harassment that she had experienced. And in that case, they would potentially have a claim and could move it forward.
Yeah, and it seems like there's an argument to be made that that her jokes were kind of airing out her attitudes towards the work environment. And so I think if you had to build a case here, it would be around that retaliation towards expressing opinions around a hostile work environment.
Yeah.
I think that would be the first place I would want to start asking questions about.
Yeah, you're putting on your plaintiff's hat. If you're putting on your plaintiff's hat, what are you asking her? Where are you pushing your discovery? What are you trying to figure out?
Yeah, so I would start by asking all kinds of broad questions about her experience at work, but this is where I would go. Yeah. I would ask if it was a hostile work environment, and I would certainly want to know what opinions she was expressing in the video.
Yeah.
You'd want to know more about her employment file. Were there performance-based issues before this happened?
Yeah.
That would certainly cut against her. Whereas if there were no, if she had incredibly positive reviews, that would cut in her benefit.
Yeah.
Cut in her favor there. So all this to say...
You'd also want to know if there's a pattern of like her getting drunk at work events. And
absolutely, because that's right. That's a pretty decent reason to let somebody go.
Yeah.
These analyses... I think Jared did a great job setting up some of the considerations. They're going to be really fact intensive.
Totally.
And you're going to want to chat with a lawyer about it ultimately, but those are some of the things to think about in the context of wrongful termination.
It kind of frames the argument that they're making here in this case. So I think,
and then the mock trial pivots pretty quickly towards defamation.
It's a procedural. They're trying to make it dramatic. They're trying to show Mike being an incredibly, he's a savant.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to show is that he thought of something no one else would have thought of. So Mike pivots to defamation as the way they portray it is almost like a defense against the wrongful termination.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's a separate action.
It's not. It absolutely isn't. So whenever you bring a cause of action, there are affirmative defenses. This is not an affirmative defense. This would be Mike countersuing.
Yes. And they do say he's countersuing, but they kind of drop the whole concept of unlawful termination, and the whole case goes to a defamation case.
So if there was a countersuit here, you would fully litigate the wrongful termination issues and the defamation issues. And we kind of set aside the wrongful termination issue.